In this video, we're going to focus on the vertical alignment of text in the canvas. So far what we have is we have here basically the horizontal alignment where we can control it on the left, the start, end, or center. But of course, we could also do it based on what we call the baseline, which would be very simple in a table cell where you can position it at the top, middle, or at the bottom. So let's look how to do that. So to do this, first of all, we're going to create a horizontal line. So I'm going to copy this here. I'm just going to put it in here. I'm going to say here horizontal line. And in this horizontal line, we just make this red again. But here in this case, we're going to change the positioning here. So I'm going to copy this, put it in here. But now instead of center Y, I need to figure out center X, I need to find out the center Y, which is basically the height here, the canvas.height divided by 2. So now, once we have this, in this case, I want to start at the very left side, and then here I need to get the center. So I'm going to say here 0, and then I want to get here the center Y. And eventually here, this will be the canvas dot width, which would mean the full width from left to right. And then I need to have here, of course, the same position of center Y here. If I save this, refresh, you can see here now we have this horizontal line here nicely. So let's start to put in text here, and then as you will see, the text will be on different positions based on this specific line, and this line will be our baseline. So to do this, I'm going to say here again, ctx dot text. And then what we're going to do here is basically we're going to say a baseline as the command. Pay attention, the B is capitalized while the L is not. So its baseline is one single word. And then what I want to say here is, for example, or what we can do is maybe first of all is to give it a different font style. So we have a font style here, and I'll give it a different font style. So I'm going to say here, this will be ctx.font equals string and italic, bolder, and 20 pixels Arial. And then what I want to do here is we're going to say here ctx.align or text align left. And the reason why is I want to push it now to the left because right now it's been default to the right or to the end because of the previous command here above. So I want to reset that into the default state that we have here. So once we have this, we can now say here ctx.text baseline, and this baseline has many different options. So let's get the first one, which is the alphabetic, and that's the default for alphabetic letters that we know in most languages. So we're going to say alphabetic, and if it's alphabetic, I'm going to say ctx again, and I'm going to say fill text, and then I'll just say here, I'll just grab this alphabetic, put it in there, then I'm going to say a comma, and I'm going to say here, because I want to start at the very left side, so 0 pixels, but keep it in the center here on the center Y, which is basically the canvas height divided by 2. So what I'm going to say here is 0, and then here center Y, save that, refresh. Now you can see here, this is an alphabetic line, or basically based on the baseline of alphabetic, where you can see here the letters, for example the P will point down and everything else will just be above here like the baseline. This is a default setting. So the next one would be, well, what we can do is now just copy all of this, put it in here, and then the next one could be, for example here, the top. Once we put in top here, save that, and then here we will have to put eventually or move the text a little bit to the right. For now, I'll just do hard-coded text, so let's save that. 120 pixels should be fine. And you can see what is happening. What is happening now is we will go top, meaning that the font itself will go down, and everything at the top will be or based on top of the baseline. So you can see it will start here and go under on that baseline. That's how it works here. So the next one would be, if we would do again another one, let's copy this. There's another command as well. And that one is what we call the hanging option. So I do a hanging, and you will see that this hanging has also a slightly different one. So let's say here, probably this one, maybe 175 pixels. So if I save that, refresh, there we are. So with hanging, you can see here now it attaches nicely the baseline here. And this is specifically for different type of characters in different languages. For example, in the Indian language, the Tibetan language, they have different type of characters where this baseline structure is being set. So then once we have this, another one of course, let's put in another one here. We're going to put it in the middle, which is a very common one. Top, middle, and bottom is very common regarding to table cells. So I'm going to say here in the middle, and then let's make this 250. Save that. Refresh. Alright, so I guess we have to push it a little bit more. Let's say 270. There we are. So in the middle, it would be on the horizontal line here, it will be exactly in the center. So it will be in the center of the baseline. Alright, so then we have that one. Next one, let's look at that one, would be the ideographic. The ideographic. And the ideographic, let's make sure I spell that correctly and pronounce it correctly. Ideographic, alright, that's it. So the ideographic is basically, let's make this 350, save it, refresh, different structure for characters similar to the Japanese characters, the Chinese characters, and the Korean characters. So we have the different structure here where everything will be exactly above, no matter with these lines here. And then finally what we have here is the bottom. And then the bottom here will basically be for a table cell most common. So 450 for this, save that, refresh. Alright, let's make it slightly bigger, 500 pixels, save that, refresh. Alright, so with the bottom, it's exactly the opposite of top. It will ignore everything in the bottom and push everything up here. So this is another way of styling your text on a horizontal, or at least on a vertical level here. As you can see here, it uses the horizontal baseline. So if you look at this and you might say, well, how do we get, for example, this text here next to each other? Because right now we just have this hard-coded text or hard-coded pixel amount. But of course you want to have them nicely next to each other. In the next video I'll cover that because that's very important to know.